How to crochet the slip stitch seam. For this stitch you will need a crochet hook. Special thanks to our sponsor Scacell for providing today's hooks. Today we are using their Addy Swing ergonomic crochet hooks in size US 7. Special thanks to our sponsor Lion Brand for providing today's yarn. We're proud to introduce their Bon Bon line, which are little balls of yarn that are great for your everyday craft use and for color work. Today we are using yarn from their Brights colorway. The slip stitch seam is a very simple way to seam two pieces of fabric together, and it uses the basic slip stitch that you would to finish your round or your row in your crochet patterns, and it creates a really nice join between your two pieces of fabric. Now here we've used a contrasting color of yarn to show you how this seam actually looks in the fabric, but you could use a color that would blend a little bit more seamlessly. Now the disadvantage is you are going to get this little bit of a bump with your seam on the back, but for the simplicity of it, it can definitely be worth doing. So let's show you how we do it. Step 1. We're going to take our two pieces of fabric here. Here we've got two little granny squares that we've made, and we want to line them up exactly the same. So here we've got the same number of stitches along our row, and we just want to make sure that we are all lined up. So when we insert our hook, we're going through the same types of stitches on the edge of our fabric. Okay, step 2, we're going to take our hook and we're going to insert it into the first stitch in our row. Now for this here, I'm actually going to work into the first corner stitch here, which is just a chain stitch, but we're going to go underneath these two bars, if you can see that, and we'll do the same thing on the next piece of fabric here. This can be a little bit tricky sometimes to get through. So you might want to stretch out one and then go through the next. Try not to split it. Okay, close enough. Alright, for step 3 we're going to take our yarn that we'll be seaming with. Here we just have some waste yarn that we'll be working with, and we're just going to place that onto our hook, and then we will pull that through both seams together. Okay, and you can see I split that blue yarn, so we're just going to let that hang there. Okay, so we want to make sure there's a little bit of a tail. We can weave that in later, and then we'll be working with the working end of our yarn. Okay, step 4, we're going to insert our hook into the next two stitches. We'll make sure that we're going through both stitches that are the same. Okay, we can see that. Step 5, we'll wrap the yarn around the stitch again. And for step 6, we're going to pull through both stitches on the loop. And then for step 7, we will pull through the loop that's on our hook. So this is where we're making our slip stitch. Now we're going to repeat the steps 4 through 7. We're going to go through the loop, grab the yarn, pull through, and then pull through the loop on our hook. Okay, so let's do that again. And like here we missed our stitch, so we're going through and we pull through both and then pull through on our loop. So it's a really simple seaming stitch. It can be a little bit difficult when you're going through these chain stitches, but the look is really nice. You wouldn't want to go through the chain space to get your yarn in there. It's not going to look quite as nice. Now this is going to also end up with your slip stitches on the inside off to one side, but really this is supposed to be done with the seams of the slip stitches, this part right here, going on the wrong side of your fabric. Now if you're doing a blanket, obviously you don't have a wrong side per se, especially if you're granny squares, but luckily this also has a really nice look to it for the slip stitch seam. So we'll just continue working those all the way through and even around, depending on how many squares you've got or how many pieces of fabric you have. And you'll get a really nice, easy seam. And that's how we crochet the slip stitch seam. After a few repeats, your pattern should look like this. Want more New Stitch a Day? Check out our website at newstitchaday.com.